Today I'll be listing off all the moves in God of War Ghost of Sparta. The weapons and magics in this game can be leveled up, giving them new moves to add to the repertoire, so I'm listing their moves by level. Beginning with the Blade of Athena's unnamed light attacks, consisting of a 6-attack combo chain. The first attack has Kratos tossing his left blade in front of him on its chain, with the next attack being a sweeping strike with the right blade across his body, with the third attack taking the same blade and lifting it up into the air before pulling it back to his side. His next attack uses both blades as he spins clockwise, stretching out his blades in a quick 180 turn, with attack 5 being a similar spinning attack but vertical. The final attack is Kratos having outstretched arms before crossing his arms, causing his blades to move past each other in a swinging motion in front of Kratos. Kratos only has one heavy attack right now, where he raises his arms behind his head and swings them down with the blades swinging forward until they hit the ground, before harmlessly trailing along the ground back into Kratos' hands. Even though light attacks don't get new moves in their chain, you can cancel your light attack combo into a heavy attack, the first named attack in the game, Plume of Prometheus. By using at least 2 light attacks first, using a heavy attack makes Kratos do a spin before slamming his blades in front of him, able to knock back or stun most enemies, spitting up flashing debris upward and leaving a glowing yellow mark where the blades landed. If you use 5 light attacks, it changes the animation so Kratos jumps forward in slow motion, with the blades stretched out behind him brightly glowing, before overhead slamming his blades in front of him. Both light and heavy attacks have a unique move when you hold the button. The light attack is named Olympic Slash, where Kratos spins around before stabbing forward with both glowing blades in a quick move before pulling them back. This move is actually capable of breaking the guards of enemies. While you can use this at any time during your light combo, it will happen after the standard attack, so even if you want to lead with this move by holding the button at the start, it will still use the standard attack first before using Olympic Slash. Probably because it takes the game a second to realize you're holding the button, since this doesn't happen with the slower heavy attack. Speaking of which, the heavy attack version Olympic Ascension has Kratos start the animation for the heavy attack before spinning and sweeping the blades across the ground, glowing as they raise in an arc into the sky, sending any humanoid enemies caught up in it airborne. If you keep holding the button, Kratos will jump to meet them in the air, which leads very nicely into the air combos. God, I wish I planned that. Kratos has a 3-move light attack combo in the air, consisting of a right blade swipe in front of him, followed by a left blade swipe, and ending in a 2-bladed vertical swipe by pulling his blades upward until the blades move in a full circle around Kratos. His airborne heavy attack has Kratos swing his blades down in an arc one after the other, as Kratos does a 180 turn as he falls, pulling his blades back to himself halfway through the turn. Circle commands are situational moves that normally only work on smaller enemies. Pressing circle next to a humanoid enemy makes Kratos attack them in a way that varies depending on the enemy type. Pressing the same button next to a bird or spider enemy, or a humanoid that's low on health, initiates a one-hit kill on them. The method of how Kratos kills each enemy with his one-hit kill attack varies based off the enemy type, so I'm not going to go into the details because otherwise we'd be here all day. If only there was a video that already told you about all the enemies in this game. Kratos also has circle commands for enemies who are airborne, though this again varies based off the enemy type. Collectively called Orion's Harpoon, Kratos stabs his enemy with the blade and brings them back down to the ground, with the exact means of how he does this varying based off the enemy he's dealing with. When he's airborne with a humanoid enemy, he grabs them, turns and throws them down, while stabbing them with his right blade to pull them back up so Kratos can punch them in the face. Kratos can also block with his blades, holding them in front of his face in an X shape. This block prevents damage from most attacks, but it can be overpowered, which leads me onto the move Athena's Reverse, a parry done when you block at the last second, making Kratos separate his blades from his guard stance to push back the attacker as his blades give off glowing sparks. While you can't parry every attack in this game, you can parry more attacks than you can block, encouraging you to get good, as the internet says. For everything that can't be parried in this game, there's evasion, where Kratos dodges by leaping far away and rolling into a standing position. Then there's Hyperion Charge. By using circle while blocking, Kratos will charge forward, and if he runs into a viable enemy, one of 2 things will happen. If it's an animal-like type enemy, Kratos will stab and spin them on his chain before throwing them away. If they are humanoid, he'll force them to the ground where you can punch them with light attacks or slam both of your fists onto them with heavy attacks, before killing them with a finishing move unique to that enemy type. By the time you reach the volcano, you'll have gained enough red orbs to upgrade the Blades of Athena to its 2nd level, increasing their damage and gaining 2 new moves. While blocking, pressing the light attack button makes Kratos do a full body spin as he swings his blades around. Kratos then walks forward a few steps while continuing to spin his blades around repeatedly before stopping with one final swing. This attack can also be done in the air to slow down your descent, and is my favourite attack in the game. The other move is Athena's Revenge. When you parry an attack, pressing either the light or heavy attack buttons will make Kratos swipe his blades in an X shape from the bottom up. This is the most important move in the game when you're playing defensively. When you get to level 3, you gain 6 more moves. Well, technically 3. Firstly, it completes the heavy attack combo, with the second attack having Kratos swinging both chain blades together, first on his left side and then on his right. It's a 3-attack combo chain, but we've seen its finishing attack before, being the stronger version of the Plume of Prometheus from when you used the 5-light attack combo before using a final heavy attack. Turns out it's called the Spirit of Hercules. The second attack is the light attack finisher used at the end of a heavy attack combo, and is called the Valor of Hercules. The other 2 moves expand on the Hyperion charge. When you press the light attack button while charging, Kratos dashes forward and shoulder checks an enemy. Called the Hyperion Rush, this move can force enemies it hits back. When you use the heavy attack while charging, called Hyperion Rise, Kratos jumps up swinging his blades up in a circle twice. This move is used to send you and an enemy into the air faster than Olympic Ascension does. Both Hyperion Rush and Rise can also be used after an evasion roll if you hold the corresponding button down. The 4th level is its last level, maximizing its damage and unlocking one last move for the Blades of Athena. Called Tartarus Retribution, by using the heavy attack while blocking, Kratos jumps forward, twisting his body horizontally, and spins his blade vertically a few times before slamming them both onto the ground as he lands. Kratos can also use this attack when he's in the air, where near the end of his attack he will rush down to the ground so he can slam his blades down. This completes the moves for the game's main weapon, but it can be empowered by another ability in the game. Thera's Bane is an ability that enhances your blades with fire. This allows Kratos to harm enemies with metal bodies and armor, but the flames still boost the damage of the blades against normal enemies as well. Thera's Bane uses its own fire meter, that unlike the health and magic meters, refills itself whenever you're not using it. Using Thera's Bane negates enemies' defensive abilities while you attack them, but its most important ability is the Searing Core. Certain moves leave small glowing nodules on enemies. After some time, these explode, causing damage. I'll write a list of all the moves on screen. I'm not showing all of them, there's too many. The explosions can stun enemies and cancel their attacks. When something dies from their flames or the Searing Core's explosions, it gives blue orbs, even if that enemy type usually doesn't. The upgrades for Thera's Bane increases the damage of the flames and Searing Core explosions, and it regenerates the fire meter faster. The Eye of Poseidon is the first magic you get in the game. Whenever you press the right button, Kratos fires a stream of lightning from the eye for 3 seconds. There are 2 secondary benefits to using the Eye of Poseidon. The first one is that when you kill someone with it, they give you green orbs even when they usually don't. The second benefit is that while it's active, you're invincible, giving you 3 full seconds of invincibility if you need it. At its 2nd level, it gets a boost in damage, naturally, and it increases the duration of the beam by 50 milliseconds. Yes, really, I timed it. Its most significant change is that the enemy being hit gets electrocuted after the beam stops. Smaller enemies get suspended in the air until it wears off. If another enemy is nearby, it will get shocked with the electrocuted enemy. The 3rd level of the Eye of Atlantis boosts the damage and increases the length of the beam by another 50 milliseconds, giving a total of 4 seconds. The 3rd level gives an ability called the Fury of Poseidon, where you continuously press the circle button to create more arcs. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what that means or what it does. I thought that it either boosts the damage the more you press it, or maybe it increases the lightning chains the enemy has with the other enemies nearby, but that doesn't seem to be the case. There must be something subtle about this ability that I'm missing. I only use this magic for the invincibility frames, I'll be honest. The second magic you receive is the Scourge of Erinyes. It gives Kratos the ability to create voids of energy that move towards the closest enemy, pulling them into itself as it damages them. The voids can pull in multiple enemies at once if they're close enough together. If there are no enemies, the void will just follow Kratos around. The voids can slowly siphon green orbs off the enemies it hurts, though the enemies run out of green orbs eventually. Kratos can create multiple voids, maxing out at 3. These voids can either attack separate enemies, or they can fuse together into a large void at one point until they dissipate one by one, which I just think looks sick. The second level of the Scourge of Erinyes just increases the range and damage of the magic, but it doesn't increase the cost of the magic, unlike the Eye of Atlantis upgrades, the same being true for the Scourge of Erinyes' third level. The third magic is the Horn of Boreas. By holding the up button, Kratos spins the horn around, creating a windstorm around himself. Not only is Kratos invincible while it's active, but any enemy caught in the storm long enough gets frozen. They break out quickly but still get hurt while frozen, and they'll get frozen again if they stay in the storm repeatedly until they die or you stop using the magic. Any enemy that dies while frozen gives you green orbs. A core difference from the other magics is that the horn drains your magic while it's active, instead of taking a fixed amount like the others. Each upgrade of the Horn of Boreas only increases the range and damage of the magic, which to me doesn't seem worth it considering each upgrade also increases the amount of magic used per second while using it. And the last thing we'll talk about is the Arms of Sparta, a spear and shield pair, and the only other real weapon in the game other than the Blades of Athena, pressing the down button to switch between the two. The Arms of Sparta light attacks has a 3-attack combo chain. Kratos swings his spear horizontally, then does a 360 spin before swinging it back in the other direction. He then jumps forward and thrusts his spear at the same time. This final move is called the Strength of Ares. It only has one heavy attack, where Kratos uppercuts the enemy into the air. Like Olympic Ascension, holding the heavy attack will send Kratos into the air with it, called Spartan Ascension, which could flow nicely into the aerial attacks, but I have one last ground attack to mention. The Wrath of Ares is an attack caused by using 2 light attacks before using 2 heavy attacks. The 2 light attacks are the same as normal, but the first heavy attack has Kratos' backhand with the shield, with the last heavy attack smashing his shield into the ground, propelling enemies into the air. Okay, now we'll talk about the aerial attacks. The light attacks are just a diagonal swing down left, followed by a diagonal swing down right, repeated until Kratos hits the ground. The airborne heavy has Kratos spin horizontally, sticking out his shield until he completes a full circle. Circle moves still work with the Arms of Sparta, but the moves don't change and still use the blades, and they don't have access to the Hyperion charge either. Naturally, the weapon set with a shield can block attacks, called the Laconian Guard. Not sure why it has a name, but sure. Unlike the Blades of Athena, Kratos can move around while blocking, making it useful for traversing certain obstacles throughout the game. It can also parry attacks by batting the attack away with the shield, called Laconian Deflect. The Arms of Sparta can also use evasion rolls like the Blades of Athena. When using a light attack while blocking, Kratos strikes with a flurry of spear jabs before ending with a final thrust. Called the Spartan Offensive, it can also be used in the air, with Kratos pointing his spear lower as he attacks. The Arms of Sparta can't channel Thera's Bane, but instead by pressing the same button, Kratos holds the spear like a javelin, and pressing the light attack throws a javelin, called a spear assault. You lock onto enemies when you aim, but if there are other enemies you want to change to, you can just move the joystick left or right. This unique far range attack is used to attack enemies the blades can't reach, and open up paths needed to progress. At the second level it gains 3 more moves. Laconian Strike is the Arms of Sparta's parry counterattack, slamming the back end of his spear into the ground, making an explosion. When using a heavy attack while blocking, Kratos slams his shield onto the ground, similar to the Wrath of Ares, but the Rage of Leonidas can be done in the air. While aiming the spear, pressing the heavy attack has Kratos hurl a spear downward. Called the Spirit of Leonidas, it doesn't have close to the range of its light attack variant. It's effectively a melee attack, but it does knock enemies it hits backward. At level 3, the Arms of Sparta gains a passive buff where the javelins thrown from the spear assault can be thrown faster. The Arms of Sparta doesn't have access to the Hyperion charge, replacing it with a Spartan charge, where Kratos rushes forward shield first until ending with a final dash forward. Pressing the circle mid-charge ends the charge faster, and when in the air, Kratos dive bombs his shield into the ground. Using a light attack while charging uses the Pride of Sparta, ending the charge with a spear thrust identical to the final attack of the Spartan offensive. Using a heavy attack while charging is called the Valor of Sparta, and has Kratos do a shield uppercut like the standard heavy attack, able to toss enemies and himself into the air. The 4th level gives the Arms of Sparta its 2 final moves. Ares Barrage is when you hold the light attack button while aiming the spear. Releasing the button has Kratos throw the spear above the screen, followed by a hail of spears showering down on a specific spot or enemy. Ares Vengeance is the same thing but for the heavy attack, with Kratos throwing the spear up and it landing down with a massive knockback effect. And this is every move, weapon, and magic in God of War Ghost of Sparta. I'll quickly mention that if you want to use the Arms of Sparta, the game won't let you use it for the final boss, making you use the Blades of Athena, so keep that in mind. If you want to upgrade everything to its max level, you'll need to break every pot, open every chest, and farm every Hyperion chargeable enemy for red orbs, and while it will be enough, I'm telling you right now it's not worth it.